Cruising is one of the best ways to get a lot of bang for your vacation budget. With a large selection of restaurants and fun activities on board already included in the price, there are people who manage to cruise, dine only at the included restaurants, and manage to spend close to or actually no extra money on board. Not one of them. It is Sunday, September 8th, 2024, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're talking about 5 ways you can pimp your Royal Caribbean cruise. We are back here on the red sofa, everybody. How is your Sunday going? I got up at 6 o'clock to play tennis this morning because we're having another fantastic heat wave here. It was almost 90 degrees yesterday. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I've been making travel videos for over 15 years of popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. I also wrote a little book called Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. It's available on Amazon now. And I'd like to say a special hello to my newest Patreon, Gabriella Berger, and my newest channel member, Brenna Rizzardi. Hey, you two. My most recent cruise was with Royal Caribbean on the Utopia of the Seas. Those are the travel vlogs that are going online during the week now on the channel. Just a couple days ago, I showed you around the cabin that I thought kind of looked cheap. It seems like a lot of you agree with me. I've been reading all the comments, and there's a difference between simplistic and cheap. I had a great time on the Utopia. There's a lot of things about the ship I love, but I wanted to go through a list of things from a very small budget to a still sort of smallish budget that you can use to make your cruise a little bit more special. And the first one is these wow bands.
Well, start me up, run it again. I'm not a puppet, but some days I feel the tug of a hand.
The first time that I encountered this technology was actually with Disney and their magic bands. Look at this old school magic band I have here. I don't know if they make them this simple anymore. Nowadays, when you cruise with Royal Caribbean, everybody gets a key card for their cabin, and that's also what you use as a form of identification on board and a form of payment. And for just about $10, you can purchase a wow band on Royal Caribbean, which is very similar to this. They're waterproof, you can wear them for your whole cruise, and they do have a certain advantage over your key card. For instance, you always have it with you, and you don't have to worry about like hiding your key card in your shoe or the bottom of your backpack when you're at the pool or at the beach. It's right there on your wrist. Just a heads up though, this doesn't work on every Royal Caribbean ship, but it does work on almost all the newer ships, and you can use it from one ship to another. You just have to get it reprogrammed when you're on board. One question I have for you out there, if you are into these wow bands, at Disney, there are so many ways to personalize and pimp the magic bands. Do they do that on Royal as well? I've never had a wow band, but I'm kind of interested in it. Maybe on my next cruise with Marcus, I will surprise him with matching wow bands. I'm so romantic, aren't I? Okay, here's another great tip I have. If you want to do something that's a little bit special on board, but don't want to spend a ton of money, and that is go to a specialty restaurant for lunch. You will know if you've watched the very unofficial travel guides for a while that I don't usually spend extra money on food on board. Drinks, yes. Casino,
oh yes.
But food, nah. I'm usually very happy with the offerings that are included in the price of the cruise, but the specialty restaurants do offer more than just different food. It's also a different atmosphere and environment. So especially if you have some kind of celebration, anniversary, or if you just want to get away from the hustle and bustle of the main dining room or the buffet, you can go to one of the specialty restaurants. And I think most people are kind of automatically fixated on the fact that you would go there for dinner, but going for lunch is so much cheaper. In fact, there are specialty restaurants on Royal Caribbean that start at around $21. And you know, honestly, that's not bad. Of course, you did already pay for a ton of food on the cruise, but like I said, if you do want to do something special, maybe you're on a longer cruise and you just need a little bit of variety, go to a specialty restaurant for lunch. There's another thing you can do. Wait towards the end of the cruise, and sometimes they also have special offers for the specialty restaurants. This happened to my sister and I when we were cruising on the Independence of the Seas. I think on the 3rd or 4th night of the cruise, there was a waiter walking around the buffet at lunchtime with a special offer to go to a specialty restaurant that night for like 30% off. So that's not something that you can like plan for, but if it happens, go for it. Okay, we've talked about WOW bands as a fun and convenient souvenir. We've talked about a less expensive way to go to a specialty restaurant. And now let's go have some fun.
Glasses of champagne.
One great thing about Royal Caribbean ships, especially the newer ships or the ships that have been amplified, is there are so many fun activities on board. Water parks, mini golf, ice skating, all these things included in the price of the cruise, and some of these activities that are extremely popular, like the iFly skydiving simulator and the Flow Rider surf simulator, they can get really crowded. But there's a way that you can book a private or semi-private session that doesn't cost a lot more money and will definitely make your experience more special. So according to what I found on the internet, for around $50, you can book an extended iFly flight. This is one of the most favorite things that I've ever done on a ship. I did it on the Anthem of the Seas, and I think that they've changed the pricing plan since I did it. I think the way it is now is it's only included in the price of the cruise on a port day. And if you want to do it on a sea day, I think there's a minimal cost. But if you want to do an extended flight, you can book that for around $50. Also, a semi-private Flow Rider session is only around $69. So that means you won't be waiting in a possibly very long line of people to get your turn again. These are groups of up to 8 people, which is going to give you a lot more surfing time than if you just go during open surfing hours. Okay, the next two are a little bit of a jump up in price, and I think you kind of have to decide if it is in your budget and if there's value there for you. Before I get to those, I would love it if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet, and everybody else, subscribed or not subscribed, please press that thumbs up before you go, and consider joining my Patreon or channel membership page to give me a little extra tip. At the moment, Royal Caribbean has 2 private islands. One of them is Coco Cay or Coco Key, and the other one is Labadee. I say islands because Labadee is not really an island. It is a secluded beach and bay area on a much larger island. Apparently, Royal is building another sort of private beach club in Nassau on this big long peninsula right next to the port. Did you know this? I was wondering why all the houses got torn down there, and yeah, I guess Royal Caribbean bought it or is renting it, and they're building a beach club there. And on my Utopia of the Seas cruise, we went to Coco Cay, which was the first time I had been there since 13 years ago. I've been talking about this for a while, but I'm working on a video where I took the 13-year-old video that I made and walked around the island and filmed all the shots again, basically, to see what did it look like 13 years ago and what is on the same place now. Pretty fascinating, coming up soon on the channel. And if you just want to go hang out at the beach, put your toes in the sand, lay in a normal sun lounger, and have some burgers and tacos for lunch, that's included in the price of the cruise. By the way, on Coco Cay, if you have the drink package on board, you also can use the drink package on the island, and I think that's different in Labadee. Am I right? Can somebody please confirm or deny that? But if you want a little bit of a elevated lounging experience on the beach, then the least expensive upgrade, sort of between just normal sun lounger and one of these ridiculously expensive cabanas, is a beach daybed. I walked all around one on Coco Cay. This is what they look like. They come with the bed, a cooler full of 4 bottles of water, 2 loungers, and also 2 floaty mats. And the price for all of this, at least when we were on the Utopia, was $298. Yeah, so it's a big jump up. You have to decide, is all this worth $298? I'll tell you a few reasons why I think it would make sense. First of all, depending on what ships are there, the beaches can get crowded quickly. And depending on how early you get up and get off of the ship, it might be tricky to get 4 loungers together in a good location. So if you rent one of these day beds, you will have sort of the peace of mind that you don't have to get up early, you don't have to hustle off the ship. It's gonna be waiting for you when you get there with 4 nice cold bottles of water in the cooler. For me, I think that's probably the best reason. And another one is kind of silly, but if you want to take some really awesome Instagram pictures, then these beach beds, they're gonna help you out. I know it's silly, but it is important to some people. By the way, there is also a video coming up where I look at what these crazy cabanas actually cost, and show you then in reality what it looks like, what you're getting.
So make sure you're subscribed or you might miss it.
Okay, final thing you can do to pimp your cruise is get a cabin upgrade. You may have booked an inside cabin, you may have booked an ocean view cabin, you may have booked a balcony cabin, and very often, a couple weeks before the cruise, depending on how fully booked the ship is, Royal Caribbean will send out mails offering people to bid on a cabin upgrade. It's called Royal Up. Basically, they'll show you a list of cabins that are available, and then you can put in how much you would be willing to pay to get upgraded to one of those cabins. You can see here while I was cruising on the Independence with my sister, I bid like $300 to get upgraded to a huge suite and didn't work. In fact, it has never worked for me on Royal Caribbean, but it has worked on other cruise lines, and it does work for a lot of people. They're not gonna send out these mails if there aren't actually cabins available for an upgrade. There is something that you need to be very careful about. Don't bid more than you actually can spend, because it says in the small print something like, if we accept your bid, your card will be charged and you will be moved into that cabin. So it's not like they're gonna contact you and say, hey, we accepted your bid, are you still interested? Your bid is basically saying, yes, take my money and give me the cabin. But let me tell you something. Another thing that you can do is just ask. You can just ask for an upgrade. Doesn't mean you're gonna get it for free. That's not what I'm saying. I think they very rarely give them away for free. But while you're checking in for your cruise, on the day of the cruise at the port, you can just ask, are there any upgrades available and what would they cost? And I'm really interested to hear your experiences with these Royal Up cabin bid upgrade auctions. Has it worked for you, and how much or how little did you bid? Also, have you ever just asked for an upgrade and then paid to move into a larger cabin? All right, everybody, thanks for spending this part of your Sunday or whatever day it is you chose to watch this with me. I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides, and I hope to see you back here soon. Bye.